Let's see. Does it make sense for a turnkey company to recommend a lender and an inspection company? That looks like conflict of interest to me. Your thoughts? This is a phenomenal question, and I love that you guys are even giving. I thought it was going to be like testing sound and stuff. So I'm super pumped that we have good questions coming in. So for the lender, it's not a conflict of interest. And in fact, I recommend you go with the lender that the turnkey company suggests for you. And here's the reason. Number one, the turnkey companies can't legally make referral fees or commissions by recommending a lender anyways. So they're not recommending it for that reason. The other thing that I've seen ever since I got into this is as soon as you start trying to buy investment properties, like you can't go into Wells Fargo and say, hey, can I get a mortgage on an investment property? They're like, sure. They're never going to close the deal. Like most lenders focus on primary home owners, and they can close those. That's what they're used to. That's what they're structured for. It's not that Wells Fargo couldn't do investment property, but they just don't do it that often. So 9 times out of 10, when I have seen people go to lenders of their choice outside of the recommended lenders that the turnkey companies give, the properties never get closed on. And it's not because it's a bad lender. It's not because of anything. It's not because of the properties. It's just because they don't deal with investment properties. And I don't know enough about lending to know what all the differences are, but it makes a difference. And so when the turnkey companies are recommending lenders, at least the companies that I've worked with, they're recommending ones who they know for sure will close the deal. So we've had people in the past say, hey, you know, I got quoted a smaller rate by this other lender. Is it cool if and we're like, we don't care who you go through, but if you go through a lender not recommended by the turnkey company, I highly recommend you asking them how many investment properties have they closed in the last 6 months or 12 months, because again, they will all tell you that they can do it. It's whether or not they actually close it is the other story. So for that reason, I do recommend going with a lender. Now, the inspection company, I recommend going not from the lender. Not from the turnkey company. Most turnkey companies, at least the ones I've worked with, if you ask them for a recommendation for an inspector, they'll give you one, but they don't really, at least again in my experience, offer them. Roofstock is a different story. They're kind of a different style company anyways, but because they expect you to get a third-party inspection, because there would be a conflict of interest. If you hire an in-house inspector who works for the turnkey company, they're going to be highly motivated to not pick out a lot of stuff. Whereas if you get the third party, then they don't care. They have no stake in the game, so they're going to tell you everything they can find. And I do want to put, this is not in the question, but since we're kind of on the topic, if you buy a turnkey property, this has thrown people ever since the beginning of time. If you put a turnkey under contract and you get the inspection, so the rehab gets finished and whatever, and you send your inspector in, I guarantee you, with few exceptions, that the inspection report you get back is going to look terrifying. It's going to look long. It's going to look like a rehab never happened. It's going to list all these items, and you're going to freak out and be like, wait a minute, but I'm buying a turnkey property. Like, this shouldn't be. I'm getting scammed. Like, this is a famous problem with turnkeys. And the thing to understand about the inspections, regardless of who does it, is there will be a list, and it's better to look at this list as like a final, punch list? Is that the right term? Like a punch out list. So it's not, when you buy a turnkey property, you're not closing on it until you've verified that it's in the proper condition as advertised, freshly rehabbed, no lingering problems, all that kind of stuff. That time is not when you get the inspection report. The inspection report comes before that. So instead of freaking out when you get the inspection report thinking you're getting scammed, you take the inspection report, you give it to the turnkey provider and say, hey, homie, that's what I would say, here's what the inspector found. Like, are you willing to fix all these things? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes. And if for some reason they're not down to fix something, they're going to tell you why. And you guys are going to talk about it. So it is not a final report when you get the inspection. It is a final punch-out list. So this is helpful for the turnkey provider because they're like, cool, now we can see anything we missed. We can see any lingering items. These guys are not perfect. We're not perfect. No one's perfect. So this is helpful for them. And then you guys have a discussion about it. They go do the punch out list, and then they can either send pictures or videos. If you want to pay for an inspector to go do a recheck, sometimes they'll offer you like half price or something, just they can verify everything for you. Then you're confirming everything was done, and then you can make the decision to go ahead and close on the property. So just a little bit of a sidebar there of how to handle inspection reports. So the answer to that was yes, there's really no fear to using the lender recommended by the turnkey company. Inspection company, I would go to third party for sure.